a massive 40-odd goals were scored as Bayern München became champions once again over in Germany. But what about me? What did I predict at the start of the season? Let's go back in time and take a little look. That's right, folks, back once again with another reaction video. This time looking back at my early door Bundesliga predictions to see how many of them I got right. And of course, how many I got wrong after the Bundesliga come to a close. And what an explosive way to end the season. Well, I think plenty of goals to talk about. But I think it was an 8-1 finish. I think it was by Wolfsburg. But anyway, so let's go back. If you want to check out, in fact, if you want to check out the initial video that I made way back in July, there'll be a link for that sucker in the old description below. But until then, we're going to bring up a graphic and compare my predictions that were in that original video with the final league table to see how many I got right and how many I got wrong. So, okay, folks, so let's take a look at the pretty picture that is number 18 in the Bundesliga table, and it ended up being Nürnberg. But what did I predict? I predict Nürnberg, boys and girls. So not a bad way to start. But I'll tell you now, folks, it gets a lot worse than this for me. I predicted, I'll tell you now, I did okay. I did some up and down, but ultimately not great indeed. But anyway, let's take a look at number 17th and end up being Hannover, finished in 17th spot. I actually saw it as Freiburg, who finished off 4 places better off. Much better than I imagined. Obviously, Hannover have an absolute shit show of a season, and they are down. They are down to Zweite Bundesliga, and it's a 16th spot. This one is the playoff, and it will be Stuttgart. We saw that coming for a few weeks. They also had a bit of well, definitely a nightmare season. I saw Mainz in 16th spot. They actually finished 4 places better off, up to what, 12th. So a pretty good season for them, just outside of the top half. Into 15th we go, probably the surprise package in the whole division for me, and that was Fortuna Düsseldorf, who finished up in at least 9th spot, so that's top half football for them. Augsburg actually finished in 15th spot, so yes. Into 14th spot, there is Augsburg. That was my prediction. Obviously, they finished 1 place worse off, so not too shabby there. But in the real world, it was Schalke who finished in 14th spot. I'll tell you what now, folks, I didn't see that. I thought they were going to finish much, much higher up the table. They had probably the worst season on the grand scheme of things. Obviously, when you look at the bottom 2, Hannover, you could probably understand that. Nürnberg for sure. Stuttgart, you probably even accept that a little bit. But for Schalke to have a shitty show as they did this season, it is quite unbearable, because I think they were in the Champions League the season prior, or the season just finished, and now they are scrambling, or they were scrambling to avoid getting in any relegation dogfight towards the end of it. They did have big victories or big results towards the end of the season to get themselves up and about, but yeah, I didn't see that one coming. So for me, 14th spot was Augsburg. Into 13th spot, I had Stuttgart. Obviously, they are in the relegation play, 4 places worse off, and in the real world, it was Freiburg, and we already seen them in my initial prediction. I had them as low as 17th. So yeah, to be honest with you, there are some sort of heavyweights within the Bundesliga, the Bayerns, the Dortmunds, even the Schalkes, you would say, but the Leverkusens and the Wolfsburgs and Werder Bremens, the Leipzigs. Obviously, they're a new giant within the German game, so you can know they're going to be in the mix of the top 8. But the lower part of the table is difficult to navigate, and that obviously was apparent with some of my Bundesliga predictions this season, and it's very apparent with where I've put them in this ladder here. But anyway, into 12th spot we go, and it was Eintracht Frankfurt. Now, trying to explain this one to you, obviously they finished 5 places better off, towards maybe 7th or something like that. Now, obviously, Frankfurt, they had an amazing season last season, and I think they finished either in the Champions League spots or just outside it. And obviously, since then, their manager was then given the Bayern job, and I thought, you know what, it's going to be one of them. You know, they lose their manager, and they're going to be a mid-table side at best. So that's why the main reason was my 12th spot. Now, they were flirting with Champions League football. They were obviously having an up and down roller coaster season, but ultimately they did finish much higher. And I think they've got their act together. And I think they'll be knocking on the door, top 8, top 6 perhaps next season once again. As for their manager previously, obviously he steered Bayern to glory this season, but the ground is not all perfect for him, and we might see him move on, and maybe another giant manager coming in, but we'll have to wait and see. Into 11th spot we have Hannover. That's right, 9 and 6 or 6 and 9-ish. Obviously they were relegated in the 17th spot, so I had bigger aspirations for them. I just thought that they had something in the tank and they could be a little bit of a dark horse, but no. So in the real world, Hertha Berlin finished in 11th spot. So yeah, Hannover much worse. In fact, probably pretty shitty. Into 10th spot we go. Hertha Berlin, they actually finished in one place worse off in 11th. So that's a pretty good prediction right there. Obviously, they start the season in amazing form, and they were in the top 2 or 3 spots for the first few games, but then they kind of trailed off and eventually settled for mid-table. So I think it's a good finish for them, 11th spot. But yeah, I thought they would finish in around mid-table, and that's what happened. So in the real world, Fortuna Düsseldorf finished in 10th, not 9th. So a pretty good season. In fact, an amazing season for Fortuna Düsseldorf. But will they be able to do it next season? We'll have to wait and see. Into the 9th spot we go, and it is Wolfsburg. Obviously, they finished, I think they won 8-1 against Augsburg, maybe. I don't know off the top of my head. You're going to have to check yourself. They finished 3 places better off. I think they're into the Europa spots, perhaps. We'll have to wait and see again. I don't know about any German Cup competitions or things like that, any stipulations with that. But in the real world, Hoffenheim finished actually in 9th spot, and they actually finished, in my predictions, they are much higher in the table. In fact, no, they're not next. That is Werder Bremen in 8th spot. So that's my second one. I got bang on the nose, boys and girls. A second one, Werder Bremen. Yeah, I think they had some recent struggles, but they've turned it around this season to finish strongly in the top half, knocking on the door for European football, but I think they're going to miss out with that. Into 7th spot we go, Hoffenheim. That was my prediction. Obviously, they finished worse off in 9th spot. So not too great. Obviously, they also had European football this past season. It looks like they're going to miss out this season unless they've done some other stuff in some other German Cup competition. But Eintracht Frankfurt actually finished in 7th spot. So yeah, so not too shabby though. 2 places adrift in the real world. So that's an honest prediction. Obviously, I did expect a little bit better things. Now here are my boys. Borussia Mönchengladbach. I actually predicted them to finish in 6th spot, and I believe they finished in 5th spot. So 1 place better off than my prediction. They're into the Europa League. Unfortunately, they cannot make the Champions League, which I was itching for them. I was itching for them to beat Dortmund in the final game of the season, but they missed the trick on that guy to do that. So I predicted 6th for Gladbach. In the real world, it was Wolfsburg, who I predicted in 9th. So you get what I'm getting there, boys. And to 5th spot we go. So this is one of the unluckiest teams in German football. Miss out on the old Europa Champions League or European Champions League. Bayer Leverkusen, I had in 5th spot. They actually finished in 4th. So they ousted Mönchengladbach to get that last Champions League spot. So they'll be playing the heavyweights of England, of Manchester City, Liverpool, Juventus, Barcelona and co next season. Well, they'll probably have to go through the sneaky back door of some qualifying hoops. So I predicted Leverkusen. In the real world, it was Mönchengladbach. Into 4th spot we go, and it was Red Bull Leipzig, who actually finished in 3rd spot. And in the real world, Bayer Leverkusen finished in 4th. So as you can see, there is a little bit of a stagger here. You know, there's a team that I predicted higher than you would expect, or that you know, there was a team I predicted much higher that's already been revealed on the actual column, and that is obviously in 3rd place. So Schalke is the rotten apple in the prediction charts there for me. Obviously 11 places worse off. They actually finished in 14th spot, and they were knocking on relegation terms for the majority of the season. So yeah, I actually got this one absolutely wrong. They lost Goretzka last season, so a big player for them. It just didn't work out for them. Obviously they were also competing on European football fronts as well, so that might have pushed their limitations a little bit. But into the final 2 we go. It is obviously the top 2, Dortmund and Bayern. Which way did they go? Can you remember? I obviously was shouting about it throughout the season in my week by week predictions for the Bundesliga. I was actually cheering for Dortmund to go all the way, but unfortunately they finished in 2nd and Bayern finished in 1st. So we'll take a look at the grand scheme of things right here, right now. So yeah, I had Bayern in 2nd spot, and I had Dortmund at number 1 spot. And for a good 75% of the season, it looked like it was going to be that way. Obviously, Bayern had a nightmare start to the season. They were trailing in 4th and 5th spot for a good portion up into the Christmas Day mark. You know what I mean? Into the back end of 2018. But then things started to turn around for them. Dortmund kind of slipped up the pace a little bit. And I think the game against Bayern was the final straw, and that's when Bayern München took control of the league, overtook them, overpowered them, and then Dortmund had some other shit show performances towards the end of the season to pretty much gift the title to Bayern. So unfortunately, because it would have been nice to see Dortmund get back up top as champions. They had an amazing season. They ran them close to the last day of the season. So credit where credit's due. As for the future predictions for the Bundesliga next season, I don't know what I'm doing next season. I am on the fence, so I want to hear your opinions if I should be going back out and predicting the 2019-2020 Bundesliga season. I'll probably do one of these anyway, regardless, because I like doing some of my expectations, but I don't know if I'm going to do match day by match day. I want to know what you think, if I should continue doing those, because my time over the next into the next season does become a lot less, because I am taking on some new projects, so I kind of recycle my time, and the some of the European football, the La Liga, Serie A, the Bundesliga, those expendable ones that I could cut away. So let me hear in your opinions down in the comment section down below. If you think I should keep going and predicting these bad boys, I need to hear your response. But anyway, folks, I'm going to let you get out of it. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, smash the thumbs up. And if you do, smash the subscribe. Check out the old description. Links to my other social media platforms are in the Twitter and Facebook. And while I still have you, stick your own comments. What did you think will happen this year in the old Bundesliga? Are you surprised with the outtake of the old the table, how it panned out? What do you think is going to happen next season? Can Dortmund get a bit of sweet revenge? Stick your own opinions and comments in the section down below, and we'll go again, folks. We'll go again, and I'll be back with my early door 2019-2020 predictions for the Bundesliga around about the back end of July, so stick around for that. But until then, focus is still going to start to turn in favour of some international football with the Copa America, the African Cup of Nations, and the Gold Cup, and we'll do predictions of those as and when they take place. Probably, and in fact, a little bit of a spoiler, and a lot of those are going to be taking place live predictions over on Twitch, and I'll have there is a link to my Twitch channel in the old description down below. I'll talk more about that in another video, I'm pretty sure. But anyway, until then, thumbs up, subscribe. Ciao for now. Thanks again for watching. Please like, share, and most importantly, hit the subscribe button to keep you bang up to date with all things Blackburn Rovers related, championship related, football related. We've got it all covered right under one roof. And while I still have you, please be sure to check out some of the old videos scattered along here, I hope.